Howdy, Nathan here. Welcome to another episode of DRG. Today we're continuing the Budget 460 rebuild. Last episode you saw the installation of the pistons. This episode we are going to work on timing chain install, probably throw the oil pump on, and then at that point we'll just kind of pause for right there while I catch up on getting parts painted and letting paint dry. So for the timing set, I have an SA gear, double roller, 3-way crank sprocket, part number 78230. Sprockets are made in the US, chains made in India. Not perfect, but oh well. I went ahead and dotted the orange paint, or put orange paint on the dots. So you have straight up, which is the O mark on the top here, really hard to see. You have retarded, and I believe that's 4 degrees retard. And then you have advanced, 4 degrees advanced. So ARO. I'm just going to install this straight up. Now, you could get a degree wheel, degree or cam, something I honestly don't know how to do. Can I learn how to do it? Yes. For something where I'm just doing a budget build, not looking for super high performance, is it really necessary? No, kinda. Some of these timing chains have emissions programmed into them, so the timings, straight up timings, actually retarded, lowers horsepower, lowers emissions. I went and looked for a part number that was pre-emissions. Unfortunately, a lot of them actually are, this part number will probably go all the way up into the emission motors. Now, supposedly, I could have done a 90s fuel injected timing set, and those are supposed to be straight up, according to, you know, internet legend. Some of the paperwork here has the OAR, like I mentioned. But the key on the installation, the key thing to remember is a line mark at tooth rim with cam sprocket timing mark on cam crank center line. So you want that mark tooth here, and then crankshaft center line, which is kind of interesting because it's in between these two teeth. So we may have a little bit of fun here trying to get this to line up correctly. For some reason I was thinking O to O, but they're talking about the keyway. Use keyway marked O, align mark at tooth rim with cam sprocket timing mark on cam crankshaft center line. Well, see, the R is on a R is on a cam or on a tooth. The O's on a tooth, and the A's on the tooth. So I'm going to go with the mark is what I'm going to do. I'll set you guys up on a tripod. Actually, you're already on it. I just need to set the tripod down and get it leveled. Like I said, I already did the cam thrust plate. Nothing special. It's keyed so it only goes on one way. You can't put it on backwards because the holes won't line up. Torque these down, put a little Loctite, blue Loctite on the bolts, torqued them down. I think it's like only 15 foot-pounds or something like that. I'll have to pull the harmonic balancer crankshaft bolt off really quick. Get this rope lined up so this keyway is where I need it to be, and then it's just a matter of walking the gears on and chain on, and then buttoning it down with the fuel pump drive shaft. So let me set you guys down. So we need to rotate. Kind of get that at the 12 o'clock position. Quick jerk motion gets the bolt loose. Really riveting watching me. Impact gun would be nice. Should have gotten that out, but then I had air compressor issues, and I don't have any of the fancy electric stuff. I don't have Milwaukee. I don't have a DeWalt. But hey, if either one of those two companies want to sponsor me by providing those, I ain't gonna be worried about being considered a product whore. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, since I'm going to need this to kind of rotate the crankshaft back and forth, is go ahead and install the crankshaft sprocket. And we're not going to put it all the way on back up against the plate, because we're going to loop the chain around, kind of get it all timed up. I got to rotate it apparently because this isn't pointing at 12 o'clock yet. Got the dowel of the camshaft pin about the 6 o'clock position, because that's going to be where it needs to be. We'll throw a little looby-dooby on the back side. That way the crankshaft sprocket slides nice and fairly good on the crank, crank. So out of curiosity, if we rotated this to the advance, the advance is almost like straight up. So R would be back here and puts the crank probably pointing towards, like, the keyway towards the 1 o'clock position, which obviously is retarding the timing. Advance almost looks like it's straight up. So we're here to here. Here to here. Let's go ahead and run it advanced. What do you guys think, guys? Advanced looks like it's straight up, if you ask me. There's O. That puts the keyway at like 1230. If you move that this sprocket or this tooth to 12 o'clock, that puts the keyway like at 1 o'clock. So I think this is probably more than 4 degrees retarded. That's probably a couple degrees retarded itself at O. And I think A, advance, is probably straight up. So my guess is A's advance is the original straight up. 4 degrees retarded on straight up. Emissions crap. And then 8 degrees retarded for whatever the hell you were, like tow truck or dump truck or something, where you don't need the high RPM band range, you need the low torque down low. So let's try straight up, see what happens. Worst case scenario, it runs like absolute dog dookie and I get to tear the front end off it while it's in the pickup truck. Not ideal, but not totally impossible either. So let's go this route, see what happens. So we'll take this off really quick. Bring the sprocket, the crank sprocket out. Okay, I'm off a tooth. Let's try one more tooth. A to A. Let's make this a little easier to see. Getting serious now. Now we're getting out math supplies. So through the middle of the dot, and we're right through the middle of the tooth. So I say we're probably pretty good on being lined up. I mean, other than I don't have a level on this and know if I'm leaning one way or the other, but if I put that in the crosshairs down here on the little magnifying eye, puts the 90 right there. So I'd say we're good. Now the question is, how off am I? I just lost it. Alright, double check. I say we're good. So then we got your oil pump drive shaft. Surprisingly enough, normally there's a hole and the pin for the dowel for the cam position is a little bit longer and it goes all the way through to your oil pump eccentric. Surprisingly, this one doesn't have the hole in it. So I'm not exactly sure what keeps it from rotating around other than torque. Kind of suspect to say the least. Not overly concerned about it rotating and moving, other than I don't want it falling off. This truck has an electric fuel pump, though I have a sneaky suspicion that the fuel pump's probably going to be way too much fuel pump for this carburetor, because the guy I bought it from had a 460 in it that he hydro-locked. Or a shop hydro-locked. It was running like a Holly Sniper fuel injection. And my guess is the external fuel pump is for that Holly fuel injection, and it's probably like, I'm not sure if those run on 45 psi or if those run on 80 psi. So on the bolt, I put a dab of blue Loctite on it. Basically what I'm doing is just going to rotate the keyway around, or the sprocket around. See, I don't think it goes like that. No material behind it. I think it just kind of hangs down where the sprocket is. And they have material backing and supporting the whole thing. So just kind of let it hang in the natural 12 o'clock position. The bottom hang down. I'm just going to use a regular ratchet. I honestly haven't looked up the spec on this, so I don't know what the spec is. (9/16) head, probably maybe a 3/8 bolt. We'll put 40 on it and call it good until I know what it's supposed to be. I gotta clean the timing, wash the timing cover and paint it, so I got time. So now that that's on, we're gonna rotate the crank 2 revolutions and make sure the lines still mark up, or the marks still line up. That's my old one, so let's wipe that off. So this is back up to done 1 full revolution. Cram sprocket is now at the 12 o'clock position, so we're looking pretty good. I'm not sure how well you can see that. I'll bring you guys in for a close-up. Okay, that's coming up, that's coming down. And voila. And a little bit harder now, but looks like it's lined up. And there you guys go. And so after 2 complete revolutions, brought the marks back, look pretty good. We have it at the 4 degrees advanced because that looks closer to straight up timing to me than the other way. I could be wrong. We'll find out. If it's a high RPM screamer, not a lot of low and grunt, then we know we probably oopsed and need to back off the timing. Take the timing cover off and bump the timing the opposite direction. It should move the RPM band down a couple hundred RPMs, not a lot if I remember right, but it'll move the RPM, torque curve, and horsepower curve down on the scale. Set you back up on the tripod, we'll rotate the motor over. And apparently I'm backwards. This is the pickup tube. So that goes for the bolt-on oil pump pickup tube. If you're doing a 460 with the front sump passenger car, it's a pin-on style oil pump tube. So basically it's a pressed fit and you don't need this gasket. That's the gasket you need. It goes right here. So I'll pull the oil pump bolts out. I like to use aviation former gasket. Doesn't need a lot. A little around the oil pump supply hole, pickup hole, kind of filling any imperfections in the block. You'll notice this is the long pickup tube for rear sump for 4x4 option, or actually I have a sneaky suspicion this is either a E-Series van, or maybe it's the Fox body Mustang conversion kit. And it looks like I need to find the main stud with the bolt that has the support for the pickup tube. So I'm at a point where I'm going to pause for now. I gotta go dig through my parts to see if I can find the stud. I should have it. And then I gotta paint the oil pan and get that all cleaned up. Oh. Oil pump drive shaft probably needs to go in there too.
little bit harder to, you can take the clip off of it, drop it down the distributor shaft later. Just be aware that anytime you pull the distributor out, it might come with it, or it'll fall out into your oil pan. Don't ask me how I know. I was young and unfortunate enough to buy a Mustang that somebody had already done that to. And I went and pulled the distributor out. And the drive shaft rod fell into the oil pan. That clip goes against the block at the top, underneath the base of where the distributor shaft goes through. There's a hole in the top of the block for the distributor to drive down to, and then it gear that connects to the camshaft that just drives the distributor. And then the little bit of the snout goes through a support in the block, and then it slides down onto the hex shaft down here in the block. Well, that distributor, that little clip at the one end, goes up against the block support, and then the other end goes into the oil pump, and that keeps the shaft from moving up and down, bouncing out, vibrating out, or being pulled out with the distributor. So I'm just going to leave these in here finger tight, because I'm going to have to undo it and change a main stud. Apparently I wasn't thinking ahead when I put this together. I forgot about the pickup tube on the oil pump. I hope this is going to be a shorter video. Hopefully you liked what you saw. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. If you liked it, click subscribe, or click like, subscribe if you want to follow along. Share it with other people if you can. Hopefully get the name out, let people know what I'm doing. This is going to be an engine series, obviously the Budget 460 build, but I'll have some Mustang comments, or content. I'll do some videos on the Mustang that you guys seen in the background. I got the Falcon wagon behind me that you've seen in the background. Unfortunately, I wasn't thinking ahead and could have done a quick video on alternator diagnosing and R&R and alternator and voltage regulator and a 66 F100, but I didn't think about it until I was almost done, so no sense taking it all apart to basically fake a video. So, well, this is where I'm at for now. I'll clean and paint the oil pan, get that on once I get the pump all situated. I'll clean, the timing cover is actually soaking in the parts washer now. I'll get that all cleaned and painted. And we can get the short block buttoned up. And then it's on to the cylinder heads, where we're going to have some fun, because I'm going to tear those apart. I haven't done that in probably 30 years. And we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.